Hey guys, what's up? I'm gonna do a live play at NL50. This is actually the lowest I've ever done a live play, as far as I remember. The theme of this is gonna be bluff. I think this is probably a fold. Theme of this is gonna be, we're basically gonna bluff at weakness. So a lot of poker is, you want to be a bit deceptive, right? Strong when you're weak, weak when you're strong, not too extreme about it, so the other guy can't know what to do. As we move down lower in stakes, people are worse and worse and worse at doing this. Yeah, and so that's what we're going to kind of bank on here. Could see me hesitating with queens based on this. They're basically not going to bluff enough, and when they take weak lines, they're going to be too weak. When they take strong lines, they're going to be too strong. That's a kind of general, like if I had to give you really quick advice, how do you beat these stakes? This is what I'd say. Of course, there's a ton of stuff I know and a lot of experience and spidey senses, etc. I'm actually going to try not to use those too much. Just to be very, very direct with this style of, I'm not going to comment on everything. A lot of, pre-flop stuff, you can find charts, and I'm not very accurate at pre-flop, especially for this rake structure anyway. But just kind of watch as I treat people as face up constantly. So here we're going to check back with a medium strength hands, and we're going to assume he's going to be a bit face up. So when he checks twice, I'm like, oh, my eights might be the best hand right now because I think you're face up. Whereas had he been a tough opponent, this bet would be very marginal because you're facing check calls from a 10 and you're facing check raises, including bluffs. But I think people are just less tough at doing this kind of stuff at NL50. And so we're just going to kind of keep assuming everything is face up. So people being face up is very useful when you have a medium strength hand like A7 here. So A7, were I to bet, a bit tough to know how much money it's worth. If I check back, he's kind of going to tell me. That's the idea here. And now he tells me, Uri, your A7's good. I don't have an 8 because I'd bet my 8. Maybe I have an ace, you're probably chopping, and sure, I don't get any money because he folded, but that's the assumption. I hope that's clear enough. So here again, the check back tells me didn't hit the board, but it just comes kind of running over cards. So I'm going to end up checking and probably winning if he checks space. So I just want to show you guys how this very, very simple thought process of people are face up telegraphing what they have. It's basically what we're going with. And we just need to read strong is strong and weak is weak. And that's kind of the basic baseline for beating these stakes. And of course, I'm not saying this is easy. Here, for example, I'm going to call one bet, and then if I don't improve, I'm just going to fold to the second bet. But now I do improve, so I'm just going to fold to the third bet. And now he checks back, so I'm like, oh, so this might be the best hand. And so what do I want to do with it? A bit complicated, right? Even if I think it's the best hand, can I value bet it? Can I check call it? Mostly if I check, he's going to check back and I win. But is he going to have, is this going to be a bluff or value? Who even knows? But because he checked back, we're treating that as too weak. We're going to treat the bet check bet as too weak, right? This is kind of a default. And here you go, the guy checked back strong. And so he stepped outside of my assumptions. And then if I'm going with this, I would be a check back turn strong. Ace jack on ace king XXX, because when you start out with this blanket assumption, it's not one size fits all. Some players here are at different levels and different styles. And so it's fine to start out with an adjustment that mostly hits. It's good to start out with an adjustment that mostly hits, but you do need to be recalibrating it as you find new information. So, right, I didn't expect him to check that back. Okay, now I know. Am I going to do something about it? Just kind of more complicated in the sense that I have to play a bit more normal. I can't go as extreme about ranges, but it's not that extreme. Okay, so now here we have aces on king 9-4. And the rule here is going to be when you have a good hand, put the money in yourself. That's the rule for low stakes. Here we're going to check because we missed. Not too hard. I'm not playing the most complicated game tree, guys. You don't need to. That's the idea. No monsters under the bed. There you go. Really big bet? Am I suspicious? Sure. I look really weak. Why are you firing this big? What am I going to do? Never ever calling. I'm just going to note. Check down 3-bet pot, 51 into 18, huge over bet. 7, 6, 7, 9, 8, 8. So I just note what happened and move on. I'm going to tag all these guys fish because they all play ML50. No disrespect intended. It's just the stage they're at. Right? So if we're responsible for our own pot size, again, you could go any flop size. The more disrespectful would just be, oh, nines actually needs protection right now. Let's go big. I wouldn't actually go that far. I just have a standardized one and try not to give off too much information myself. But doing this might actually be better. So I'm going to showcase kind of a mixture. So yeah, check, check. He checked back, so he's weak. So I'll start bluffing ace 8 of diamonds on a jack. Kind of a weird card in that, who knows, we're going to get called by king queen. We're going to get ace 9 to pull. All sorts of stuff happens, but I don't know. Weak, so we attack, kind of. And just trying not to be too much into the hand reading and experience aspect. You know, he checked back weak, bet big twice, sure. This guy's betting. You know, this is part of the proficiency, is recognizing when is your hand just a call and when does it start being foldable. So sizes he went, you kind of have to call there, and now on the river it's foldable, and we're going to assume he underbluff, so just fold. Here we 4-bet, and at the slow board, and we're just going to be in charge of putting the money in, like I said. This play is actually fine on flop. I think he should probably shove pre-flop though. I guess maybe he knew what was coming. So here I just protection bet my deuce straight away. Just very, very direct, very disrespectful, right? Which is, it's weird because, you know, a lot of the people at these stakes are in the process of moving up stakes. They're learning, and maybe they think of other people as themselves, and you know, you respect yourself, you're smart, you studied, so why am I playing so disrespectful? It's just the level of proficiency required is very, very high to do some of the things in poker. And so the people playing at these stakes, even if they're very smart, they're generally stuck worrying about how big the size on the flop or what to do with ace king when they miss. All stuff we cover in Lab 2.0, by the way, check that out on upswingpoker.com. And we're going to have a Black Friday sale starting very soon, 25% off everything there. So a very good time to purchase. You can actually get 25% off your entire, even a yearly plan. Like, great for anything. And yeah, back to the action. It's just kind of the order of progression. This is something you get to later, and for good reason, you don't need it here. So don't think, oh, everyone here is very smart because I'm here. You're here because you lack experience. Generally, as you get experience and reps in, for people who take this seriously, you move up. A lot of people do this somewhat recreationally, and that's perfectly fine. And it's a tough stake to beat NL50. You need a lot of proficiency in a lot of different aspects. I'm just kind of showcasing one in which I expect them not to have proficiency, which is deception, right? I'm not saying they don't play their hands well. I'm just saying they don't play their hands very deceptively. And I'm showing you guys how to take advantage of that. Yeah, so fold this straight away. No questions. Here looks like I'm a bit confused what happens, but you see how this is a very dynamic board and this is a very weak bet. So we're going to attack that. There's always the context of how wet plus how big. And I kind of forgot the action even. I just see small into dynamic board and I'm like, okay, right? I don't think you're deceptive enough with that size. There's nothing wrong with the size. It probably fits your hand. But if you're not deceptive about it, then it's just not a very strong hand and it's going to struggle against a raise. It's the idea. So here, start building the pot for our ace queen. You could also call, like I said, I kind of like being in charge of building the pot myself. At the same side of the coin of not trusting these guys to be too deceptive. I just rather take care of business for my hands. Of course, if you know I'm doing this, countering me is very, very easy. But I don't think these guys know I'm doing this. Here, we're 150 deep, so I'll just flat queens. I think stacking this off would be a bit loose. And I'll just play carefully. And here looks like I 3-bet. We'll try to show down eights. Okay, check, check. Start betting. Just fold to an overbet. Could take a note. See bet here. Gonna play queens a little bit defensive and tricky because we're at a low SPR, so I get to do that. Right? High SPR you don't, low SPR you do. Because it's easy to get stacks in later anyway. And 2 checks on such a dynamic board, I'm gonna guess no traps and then just go for the stack with queens. Hopefully that works. If we get shoved on, it's a bit ugly. But it is tough for people to check strong twice. Now we lose to mostly aces and kings, and I guess we pay off because he showed weakness twice on a dynamic board, though I'm not excited about this one. I'm not excited because he should have hands like aces and kings there quite often. But I kind of get the feeling, and this is what I keep coming back to, that he would have just bet with them earlier very often and not protected his range or not played deceptively enough, right? It's all similar sides of the same coin. And that's going to weigh my decision to calling. And to calling, I call with queens, but presumably calling with any pair. Just putting him more on bluffs. And I didn't expect even a flush draw necessarily. I just saw there's a 3, 4, 5 on the board, so ace king might shove. Splash pot, we're going to do tons of limping and hope to see the flop. If you want to raise, probably raise to 10 to 15x, I would guess. Yeah, good raise size. 10-9's close, I think have to fold. Here we'll call one. And I'll think about it too much. So here we check back middle pair, he checked twice, so we probably have the best hand. So let's half pot, get some value / protection. We don't really care which one, guys. We just think he checks twice, hence he's weak. And so why give him a free card? I hope the concept is clear enough. That's not the only thing to do to beat these stakes. It's just a big thing, I feel like. And you can have variations of it, but the big picture is once they show weakness, you pounce and you're generally good. Here I check back ace-9. Old school thinking would have been to protection bet that. But new school thinking is more, it's just not very strong. Let's see that we roll off some bricks before starting to pile in money. And it's not like flush draws would have done much for us anyway. Here, I guess this calls. Let's call for the video. And here, it's actually tough for me to have a hand as weak as ace-9. If you think about my turn calling range, it's ace-x and hands with flush draws. So we'll actually just bluff and get snapped by a flush. Well played. Cool. But you don't have to do that. Of course, just check. Like, you don't have to do that to beat the stakes is what I mean. Here we check call, turn check, check. If we're not into turning stuff into bluffs, we auto check. If we would be, I'd kind of say, oh, well, you have some ace highs, so don't need to dig this deep to bluff. And yeah, you lose to sevens, that's fine. Like, you're supposed to lose some hands. Don't worry about it too much. Just because he has a hand that beats you a lot doesn't mean you should bluff, doesn't mean he always has a hand that beats you. You're actually gonna win enough there to not merit bluffing. And yeah, let's finish up with these two ace kings. So let's start checking back. This guy's really short and start checking here. I like checking out of position, so I just do it as a default. And once he checks twice, we think we have the best hand. Once he checks back turn, we think we have the best hand. So yeah, let's overbet this one. Maybe clicks call it something, but and anything would work. Okay, guys, I will wrap up here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the Black Friday sale on upswingpoker.com. Lab 2.0 is a product I'm heavily invested in and very active in. So if you like my content, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. See you guys soon.